Doggy, and hello everybody for another episode of Why Am I So Angry? Joined by me today in the studio is Aaron Ayesino, and he's going to answer the question today of why I'm so angry. Aaron?
Oh, we don't have
Aaron, I'm
time
angry.
enough in 30
Answer
minutes
the question.
to tell you everything on why I'm so angry all the
Why
time.
am I so angry?
We could start off by today. I saw a guy using rigging to tie off instead of an engineered fall arrest device.
Ooh, Doggy.
But that's not our real show. Welcome everybody to the Evil Safety Dudes podcast, where we talk about all things safety related, all things OSHA related, and basically how not to die at work. I'd like to introduce my co-host, Mr. AJ Hanscom. He is a partner in crime, and he is an OSHA authorized outreach trainer. And he does a lot of training people how to build scaffold.
Well, thanks, Aaron. Thanks for the wonderful intro. And I'm also joined today in the IBC podcast for it with Aaron Ayesino. He is an OSHA authorized outreach instructor for the general industry and construction. And today, everybody, we are going to be doing one of our biggest, honestly, like so much stuff roped into it, pet peeve episodes of scaffolding.
Scaffolding.
Because honestly, like, Aaron, be honest. Have you ever walked onto a job site and seen scaffolding and been like, oh, that is 100% correct scaffolding?
I can't remember. It may have happened, but it's definitely not the norm.
So it's so infrequent you can't say that it happens.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen $250,000 on one scaffold worth of violations before. Easy. Yeah, that's more normal than not.
Right.
So as AJ said, this podcast is all about temporary elevated work platforms, otherwise known as scaffolding.
Can I call them TUPEs?
I don't know. Is that the abbreviation for temporary elevated work platform?
Well, because either
that
working
was
on
like a TEEP, so there's got to be a U in there
because
it's
temporary
a
elevated work.
Yeah,
TUPE.
TEEP.
Because they're working on that MUPES platform, mobile elevated work platform.
Right.
MUPES.
So I know that a lot of safety people hate scaffolding. I've had construction safety people who represent the general who would not allow contractors to build scaffolding on their sites.
For sure.
They actually wouldn't allow scaffolding on their sites.
Just get a lift or something. Don't even worry about scaffold.
But before we get into that, what's new, Mr. AJ?
Well, we're rolling up. Weather's getting nicer. Things are getting better. I'm getting awfully tempted to de-winterize the Camaro, pull it out of the garage, and get it ready to roll, start tromping it around town. I'm pretty excited. Start making some noise.
That's awesome.
How about you? You got anything going on here? Getting ready for summer?
Same old. Run around like a chicken with my head cut off.
For sure.
Running the gym, running the church, and then my work here, my day job. So, but things are rocking and rolling, just enjoying life. But back to scaffold. Now, why is it so hard for people to build scaffold correctly, do you think?
I put it up to two big reasons. I honestly think I could divide the big failures into two categories. First one being just the lack of education. There's so much to know about scaffolding, like genuinely a lot.
It's a big standard.
Yeah, it's huge that it is easy, especially when you're thinking about maybe you're a smaller contractor and maybe scaffolding isn't, the one thing you focus on. So it's easy to be thinking about dollars per man hour. It's easily be thinking about, production and what you got to get done next. That when that scaffold goes up, it's just a 20-minute job that's got to get done.
Yeah, most contractors are building what's called molded frame or prefabbed, and that stuff's like Legos. So to me, I think they don't think they need training because they already know how to put it up.
Yeah, man. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to fit it together.
But putting it up and making it pass an OSHA inspection, make it safe, are totally different things.
Yeah. So then my second thing, aside from education, is honestly just not caring. So on one side, they just don't know enough to do it, and then on the other side, they just don't care. Just like, whatever.
There is an issue out there with people caring for safety and caring for OSHA codes. There's not a lot of strong care for that.
Right.
That's why we're the Evil Safety Dudes. I was on site today. I was doing a safety audit. This guy was using rigging to tie off, and this rigging was beat up, tattered, frayed. It had been used in 1,000 lifts.
Of course.
And he's standing on the top rails of a scissor lift.
Okay.
Tied off above him, and he's using this strap instead of an anchor strap connector. And I'm just like, hey, dude, get an anchor strap connector. You shouldn't be using that. Oh boy, did he go off?
Like he just popped.
just lost his cool.
Awesome.
And like
Great.
what was actually happening, I was trying to prevent his company from getting an OSHA violation.
Yeah.
I was trying to prevent him from getting thrown off the site by the plant.
Because they will.
And I was also trying to prevent his own death.
Right.
But yet he is yelling at me. That's why we're the evil safety dudes, because we care and nobody else does.
I don't know what, in a world where no one's supposed to die.
So yeah. Anyway, back to scaffold. There, there's a lack of care
Man, that
on that.
sucks.
It goes up, it goes down. People think, oh, I'm not going to get caught. Even
Right.
if I know I'm not building this right, I'm going to put it up. I'm going to take it down before they ever get here.
You
As
know,
long as no one's got a picture, no one's got proof.
I know we don't try to like dig in and get too particular, until later, but I do want to hit a reg on you real quick.
Go for it.
Because this one, in my opinion, it gets, and we're doing this like, I know we got this scheduled out later, so everybody, just keep this in the back of your mind. This is a free nougat, but this is a scaffolding subpart that everybody screws up on scissor lifts. Was he on a boom lift or scissor lift?
He was on scissor lift.
Okay, so it's under the scaffolding subpart. They enforce this on scissor lifts. But did you know that it's 2 violations to stand on that guardrail? Automatic violations because of the scaffolding subpart.
Okay.
One of them says that any surface on any scaffold that supports you must be able to and was designed to support 4 times the maximum intended load.
That is a scaffold reg.
And OSHA enforces that even if you want to step on the guardrails. They say, fine, you can step on the guardrail if that guardrail was specifically designed to support 4 times your weight.
Right.
So that's
What's
the
the
first
second
place.
one?
Second one is on any scaffold. The minimum width for a regular, now there are some exceptions,
I know
but
where
the
you're going with
minimum
this.
width, is 18 inches
Unless
for
you're
any platform.
tied off, and he was tied off. But you're absolutely right. They do regulate scissor lifts under mobile scaffolding, which is kind of lame.
Oof. I would definitely take you up on that one, honestly. The minimum 18 inches working platform, they've got citations on that for any time somebody steps on the guardrail. They've hit them with that one. Said, "Oh, we don't care. You were tied off. Minimum distance or minimum width."
Yeah, we'll have
18
to
inches.
we'll have to have a listener see
if
who's
they
right
can
on
find that
because
one.
my member of the standard is it has to be 18 inches wide, unless you're tied off.
Well, there's a second part.
Because you could just put up a guardrail and go with one plank. Because we had to do that a million times when you're building scaffolding around a vessel and you get to the side where there's a wall and you don't have 18 inches. You just throw your one scaffold plank down, you guardrail it. That's your fall protection. You're good to go. But we'll take that argument off.
I know. Well, yeah, because they've hit this one in a goofy spot. They have like an extra sentence in there. But yeah, anyways, if you're on a scissor lift, yeah, they'll hit you with 2 for just stepping on those guardrails. Now that whole tied off might eliminate 1,
right?
But it won't get rid of the 1 for the guardrail.
Well, not for this guy because he was tied off incorrectly.
He didn't even have fall
He
protection.
he did. He was just using rigging, so he would have got busted for both. But
you think it would have saved him? You think that thing was good enough, strong enough, still would have?
it might have.
Or was he just putting feeling into it, going, "Oh, this is the
it was
good strap"?
if it was a 5,000 rated rigging in a choker hitch, because that's how he had it. Then it might have still worked, but it was a tattered old little strap, and so
Probably all cut up. And
if I had a bet, OSHA for sure would have cited him. Because with fall protection, and we're getting off in fall protection now, but if it's been used in the fall, it has to be inspected by a competent person.
Yep.
And if you look at a rigging strap that's been used 10,000 times, that's like been subjected to a fall 10,000 times.
Or
it's
load.
been put under
it's
load.
for sure.
And did a competent person in fall protection expect that rigging for him to use it? Negative.
No.
So
Well, and there's the other part of the standard that says you can't have it leave the fall protection. Oh, I'm gonna have to refresh my memory on the wording on that one when it says it. If it was designed for fall protection, it can't be used for anything else, and vice versa.
well, that's for sure in there. You can't use your anchor strap connecting for rigging. This was opposite, using your rigging for fall protection, which is something we try to avoid. But do you got any real cases in scaffolding, if they resulted in an OSHA citation or not? Just something that you saw on a site?
Something that I saw personally that resulted in an OSHA citation.
Or not, just something you saw bad and you corrected it or you knew about it.
Oh, shoot, that one did, yeah. Just not that long ago here, I was on a good job site, had a lot of different contractors, and the general, it really got the general steamed. They had a bunch of scaffolding that they had their own guys trained on for one specific job. And one of the subs, when, I don't know if nobody was paying attention or whatever, but one of the subs decided to take it upon themselves to fish out all the general scaffolding and set it up real quick.
What do you mean, they tore it down?
No. So the scaffold was already unassembled. All
Okay.
of the pieces of molded frame and then
Okay,
all the, yeah.
I got it. It was just sitting somewhere.
Yeah, it was stacked up real nice, waiting for the job that the general needed it for. And they were like, saw it, and they were like, all right, sweet. So they grabbed as much as they needed. They built 4 levels really quick and went up. And I'm not kidding. When I was doing an inspection there with one of the Sparkies, and then the general, they knew me, so they wanted to chat real quick. And then we saw the scaffold, and he was like, well, that shouldn't be there. And so we go over, and he's like, well, how much do you see wrong with this? And I'm not kidding, dude. Like, everything was wrong. It wasn't even pinned together. Like, nothing.
Okay.
There was no feet. There was no guardrail. There was
No
zero
base
fall
plates?
protection. No base plates.
No mud seals.
Zero. I mean, it was on concrete.
Okay,
But
but
it was
still
just
no base plates.
No base
That's
plates,
illegal.
Not even bottoms, right? And then every single level had 1 plank on it.
Plank or prefab deck.
1 prefab deck.
Okay, which is illegal.
Right, and then the level that they were working on still was on 1.
That's
And
illegal.
So they were four rows up, and that was it. It was literally just 4
Was
levels.
it the 5 wide by 7 long?
Yes.
And they were 4 sections up.
Right. So it wasn't,
So 4 times the minimum width of the base is when you have to secure it.
which would be 20, which was 4 levels.
And so they're right at that level, and it wasn't tied
Wasn't
into
tied
anything.
in. Nope. So I mean, it was like everything you would normally.
How about guardrails on the working level?
0.
Because scaffold's got that weird fall protection rule that most of the other standards don't have, which is 10 feet,
Right.
but they're 20.
They were at 20 foot.
So were they tied off?
No.
And no guardrails.
No guardrails. No nothing.
So yeah,
They didn't even pin the levels together when they
and
put
how
it
many
up.
guys were on the scaffold?
3.
So big citation,
Huge.
citation
It
city
was
right there.
3 different levels in use. Like it was nuts.
Yeah.
And the general, he was just furious. What do you think you're doing with our material?
Was
our
he more mad
equipment?"
that they stole a scaffold or with all the violations?
Well, it started
Because
off that he
sometimes they don't
stole
know
it.
the violations.
Right.
Yeah.
It started off that he stole it, and then when he started asking me, "What are all the problems?" and I just started going, "Well, we're missing this and we're missing that," and then he started to get real mad. He was like, "These guys don't even know what they're doing, and I had to
Yeah.
get special training." And
Well, he should be mad too, because as a general, you might get roped into that multi-employer worksite rules
Yeah.
where you're the controlling
You're the controller.
contractor, and when your subs are doing that, you could get looped into those
Yeah, dude.
citations. So he's got a right to be mad on a couple of them.
Mhm.
I got a lot of similar stories like that. I used to build scaffolding.
Oh yeah, ethanol plants and stuff, huh?
Even as a safety dude, they sent me to Colorado, to a college there, Rocky Mountain Education Center, and I got a scaffold train the trainer,
Ooh.
and it was to train people. But then since I knew how to do it, and I love heights and climbing, and we got to build 80 feet
You were
tall
always out
ones.
there.
I was building with them. I would do my inspections.
yeah,
I would do
man.
my safety duties, but I go build the guys. Now I don't think they liked it
Right.
because the safety guys working with them.
Swinging around
Yeah.
80 feet with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we got to do it by the book now.
I mean, nobody likes to get told that they're doing something wrong.
Right. And when the safety guy is actually doing the work and doing it by the book, then there's no
Yeah.
excuse to not
Right.
do it. So it was just a good workout, and it was fun for me because I love heights and climbing.
Plus, then they couldn't even complain about you being like an office guy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they're-
Yeah, I got
stupid
my boots
suit.
dirty.
Yeah.
But we built this scaffold. It took me 12 hours. We built them around anhydrous ammonia tanks.
Oof.
Yeah. It was like 7 sections high. It was a very wide vessel. So we had to build like this huge, like decagon kind of structure,
Jeez.
around it. And we spent a long time building it. We finished it off, did the inspection as a competent person, put the tag on it. It was ready for use the next day for
Cool.
the actual people.
Nice.
So we get there the next day. I go to do my inspection on it so that people could work on it.
Yeah.
And there's pieces missing.
Missing?
Yeah, mechanical contractors took a metal blade on a sawzall, lobbed off our columns so they could run pipes. So they damaged the structural integrity of our scaffold.
So they just like went straight and ham on the inside, cutting
And this is
out
rental
supports.
stuff. So now we have to buy that.
Oh,
And this isn't
gosh.
molded frame cheapy stuff. This is system scaffold. This is good expensive stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Not only did they do that, they cut holes in the plank so they could run pipes vertically.
Oh my gosh.
So they completely destroyed the structural integrity of our plank, which people standing on there could fall and die.
Well, yeah.
They took out support columns so the whole thing could collapse.
Oh my
And boy, you want to see Aaron get hot, go take a sawzall to a scaffolding. I was mad.
I'd have fought people. That is just upsetting.
And the sad
My
thing about it
goodness.
is the contractor that I was representing for safety, they were subbed under the contractor who did all the bad stuff.
Oh, good.
So they're signing our checks, so I couldn't go yell at anybody.
Of course not. How are you
I
supposed
just
to
had to
enforce?
fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another time, we had scaffolding. These contractors, after we left, come and took all our planks and threw them on the ground because it was muddy. So they used our scaffold grade planks as like bridges to walk out of the mud. And I can't quote it right now. Maybe somebody out could look it up and email it to us. But there's a reg on there. But if your scaffold grade planks get used for that type of thing, you can't use them again for scaffold grade planks.
Yeah, I'd have to look into that.
You know,
I mean,
so,
it makes sense.
and
though.
it's
You start
expensive
waterlogging
stuff.
boards. I mean,
Yeah, and for those of you guys who don't know what a scaffold grade plank is, it is not normal wood.
no,
And you can't use normal lumber
cannot.
to stand on. I could use it as a toe board, but I can't use it as a plank. To be a scaffold grade plank, you're a very special piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember any of the specifications?
Nope.
It has to be like stamped by like Southern Pine Bureau.
Oh my.
It has to be actually rated by
Right.
like I think there's only 2 in the United States that actually grade and rate it.
For scaffold grade planking.
Yeah, if it's going to be like natural wood, the rise to run on the grain has to be
Right.
a certain pitch. There can't be knots too close together. So most of the time when you see scaffold grade plank, it's not even that. It's actually manufactured. It's built like they build a skateboard. It's a whole bunch of layers of wood glued and compressed together. And you should not mistake a 2x10 for a scaffold grade plank because they look different. One's like twice as heavy as the other one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the top violations I see, by the way, is
Using-
lumber to stand on.
There was one where we were building, and one of my contractors called me and said, "Hey, they hired a scaffold builder, put the scaffold up special for me in a stairway. AJ, can you come tell me if this is okay?" And I could hear it in his voice. I was like, "You don't normally call me for questions." He was
Right.
like, "Well, just come look at it." So I show up, and it is like 2 different scaffolds kind of hobgobbled together. that
Okay.
they don't make sense. And the guy's got everything on casters in a stairway.
Oh,
Like
that sounds
everything.
safe.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at these, and he's like, "No, the wheels are all locked. It's fine. Nothing will roll or slide." And I'm like, "Okay."
You shouldn't build stationary scaffold with casters.
With casters, and then
Only mobile.
They're all on casters, and every pole was. And then as you get up to the working height, everything's over this split stair level, right? So one side's going down, and then it splits in the stair, and then the other side goes down. So it kind of makes like a horseshoe. And this guy's got this thing way up in the very top ceiling. And all it was like, I want to say maybe about a dozen 2x10s to kind of cover all the area, and then 2 to 3 layers of plywood in between all of it for their working level.
Wow.
And he was like, "No, this will be fine." And to prove it in front of all of us, he walks out on this and jumps on it.
Yeah, I love it when people prove something safe by doing something very unsafe.
And I'm like, no. I had to.
Not
I
good.
believe you actually helped craft a very, very polite letter several years ago to the general on that job site because I had not nice things to say.
Let's talk about training. So, a lot of people don't know, but there's 3 levels of training with scaffold.
There are.
Scaffold awareness. Can you name another one?
No, I'm just kidding. Well, there's user level.
Okay, so that'd be like 2nd level, and then erector or builder. And most people who are putting up scaffold and using scaffold have zero
Zero training.
training.
Hey, we did a toolbox talk on it once.
Yeah, we're good. We know how to do it. But it's not going to cut it with OSHA. When they come and they see people building scaffolding,
Oh, yeah.
they want to know that they have been trained to build
They're
scaffolding.
going to want to see that erector dismantler level training.
Yeah, it's a high level training requiring hands-on. And there's a lot of rules for those guys. I don't even have them all memorized. You know?
I've seen a lot of them go by, and I know I've done a really good job of trying to pick out the main ones. And I think, honestly, you're cutting yourself short. I think you know a lot of them.
I do, but I don't know them all. There's so many, like bracing.
Yeah.
Okay, diagonal bracing. When you build a rectangle scaffold, how do you do your bracing? When you build a square, and we're not talking about prefab, we're talking about system.
Okay.
You know, how do you do it? When you build a circle, how do you do, like the circle one I remember, it's every other bay in opposing directions.
There you go.
But when you build a square one, you don't do it that way.
No, it's different.
Yeah. And so, like, there's just so many rules to it, and people are just throwing it up. I said, why don't you have a cross brace in there? Oh, we didn't rent enough.
We don't have one.
Do we need that? Yeah, you do.
Or what's a cross brace?
Yeah. So yeah, builder training is important, and then user training. Why don't you tell us what that all entails?
I mean, user training, that's for your people that after the erectors are done and the thing has already been evaluated by your competent person and it's getting released from construction for people to use and work on. The users are the people who are only going to work on it.
Yeah, they're not
gonna
building
add
it.
to it, not take away from it.
Yeah, and those are the first guys that are going to start taking it apart.
Right. Oh, it's too tall. Oh, this
Yeah.
is too many. Oh, I don't need these.
Yeah.
What I really needed was this.
And then awareness levels for people who are working on a job site around scaffolding, but
Right.
not on it or building it. So there's 3 different levels of training, and we want to make sure that we're giving our employees all the training that they need to do it right. There's so many little things that most people don't know. For instance, the decks or the planks can't have more than an inch gap between them.
Right.
OSHA's worried a tool is going to fall through and bust somebody on the head.
Right, or parts or whatever, but heck yeah.
I just don't see people following the rules of hand railing.
No.
If you're over 10 feet on scaffolding and you're not tied off, you need a whole guardrail system. Top rail, mid rail, toe board, all to the right specs. There's heights. Your top rail could be too low and you get busted. And most people aren't putting them on at all.
What's fun is when you run into those people that know, like, or they've heard a little bit, and they're like, oh, I don't need a guardrail. I have a cross brace right here behind me.
Right.
And you're like, well, measuring the height of it, this could be your top rail, but where's your mid rail and toe board?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, what? And it's like,
everybody
you need the
wants to
rest.
use the cross as a rail, but it'll only work for one if it falls in the right parameters.
Yeah, and it's got to be the exact height.
Yeah.
Like, they give you a window.
Yeah.
And not all of them are that high or
No.
that low.
What I see a lot is contractors, they'll call up the rental yard. They'll say, hey, I need some scaffolding. They'll say, all right, great. How many sections? And the guy will say, well, I need my feet to be 20 feet. What are yours? Oh, ours are 5 tall sections. All right, so give me 4 sections.
Okay.
And so they show up to the rental yard, and the guy goes, here's your stuff, and they load it up.
Yep.
And then they go to the site, and they put it together the best they know how. And then here comes the evil safety dudes.
Or the OSHA guy.
And I go, hey, bud, where's your base plate?
Right.
Well, they didn't give us any.
Give us
I was like, you can't put this frame on the ground.
It's in the grass. What are you talking about, Aaron?
Yeah,
Grass is...
You can't do that.
It's not going anywhere. It's grass.
Where's your mud seal? Oh, they didn't give us any. Didn't know you needed that. Where's your guardrail system? They didn't give us that. That's like the biggest excuse. They didn't give us that.
Right.
They didn't give us that.
We don't have that.
So for some of our clients, when they got to do a scaffold job, I'm like, I'm ordering it for you.
Yeah.
You tell me how high you need to go.
Right.
And what all you need to do, and I will order you. And then I'm going to call the rental yard, and I'm saying, I need 4 screw jack base plates. I need 4 mud cells.
Right.
Matter of fact, give me some outriggers so I can make this base wider because we can't tie it off.
Right.
So
There's nothing to secure it to.
Do some cool tricks of the trade. Give me a full guardrail system, handrail, midrail, toe board. Oh, sir, we don't have toe board system. All right, fine. Then I know I got to bring some 2x4s, some nails, or some wire. Like, hey, give me pins.
I would really like to be able to pin the levels together.
Yes, because they're not going to, they don't always just give you pins.
Well, yeah.
And so, people who are ordering the scaffold, they really need the training. And I've seen that a lot too. The company hires me to do the training. And I train them, and we build, and they know what to do, and they want to do it right. But they're not the people that load their trailers to go to the job site.
For
and
sure.
the guy who loads it doesn't know to send them with all that stuff.
Yep.
Now, when they get on site and realize they don't have it, they make the mistake of just putting it up anyway.
Well, yeah. It's still got to get to work.
And so I like to train the people who load the scaffolding for the different crews
Heck yeah.
too. I think that's important.
Something else we've run into before is sometimes your job just needs the scaffold, but you're not going to take on the risk or have people do it. So sometimes a rental yard offers, oh, man, for a fee, we'll build it for you. So then your people just show up to go use the scaffold, and the rental yard people are in the same boat. Not trained, don't know how to secure it, build guardrails, and then you're showing up working on something that you had done for you. by somebody who's not a professional. So without even that user level training, you're not going to be able to identify that you're missing, anchors, pins, guardrail systems,
Right.
base plates. Like, that's why that training is so important for all of the levels of people.
And one of the big things I see too is they're not inspecting it. OSHA requires that a competent person in scaffolding inspect that before anybody gets on it
That would be great.
every
if people
single
did
day.
that.
But it's not happening.
No, it's
You
not.
know?
Not at all.
And so I've had professional scaffold building companies, because there's some big ones out there. All they do is build scaffolding. If you can hear the sirens in the background, welcome to Sioux City, Iowa. We are number one crime in Sioux City. We're number one.
So you just welcomed everybody to Sioux City. We're the number one crime in Sioux City.
we're the number one, have the highest crime rate in Iowa.
Oh,
yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
that's what I meant. So
I like the first one. Welcome to Sioux City. We have the highest crime in
we,
Sioux City.
we are the evil safety dudes, so highest crime goes hand in hand. I forgot where I was at now.
Okay, so you were talking about how, dang it, I can literally see your hand up in the air.
I guess
remember
it
the last
wasn't
word you were
important
on.
then.
It was good.
No, it was these professional companies that they
that
build
build.
it. So they go and they do build it beautiful.
Right.
And I can't find an issue with it because they're professionals.
That's what they do, man.
Right?
Heck yeah.
And you got to be a big project to hire those guys because they charge $1 billion.
Oh, yeah.
But they're going to build you a good scaffolding.
Well, that's the whole point.
But they go back to wherever they came from, states away.
Yeah.
They will not leave a guy. Sometimes they will if you pay them enough. But most of the time, they're not going to leave a trained person there for a month
Right?
to
twiddle
do
his
your
thumbs.
inspection every single day. So then the company still needs someone trained as a competent person to do the inspection. But
every day.
But it's a disconnect.
Right.
They're like, well, I hired pros to do it. So, and I got the user training, so I'm good, right? And I'm like, no. You still need a competent person to inspect this every day. And so now they're mad, but
Well,
don't shoot the messenger.
right?
I mean, I am the evil safety guy for a reason.
The evil safety messenger
So I just
dark places.
came here from doing an inspection, and I ran into one of the guys we just did at OSHA 10 for,
Awesome. Okay.
and he was giving me a hard time. He walked up to me, and in a funny way, he goes, rah, 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 rah. And I go, what? And he goes, yeah, you said in class, construction workers always like, rah, 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 rah to you. And I'm like.
So he was literally pantomiming your pantomime of a
yeah,
construction
yeah,
worker?
Yeah, he must have really affected him
Awesome.
because it was probably a couple weeks. And so.
That's fantastic.
And he was a cool guy. He's
Yeah.
like, we're not all like that. Construction workers aren't like that. So I just wanted to give you a hard time. I'm like, that's nice. So I go into the
That's
next
nice.
room, and that's when the guy was tied off with rigging. And then
standing
he
on the
did go,
guardrail.
rah, 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 rah to me for like 5 minutes.
Awesome.
And then so I finished inspecting that area and went back and said, you just missed the rah, 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 rah.
We do, man.
It's not something I made up.
Right.
It happens like all the time.
For
Like,
sure.
yeah. I think we're the, we're not the only trade.
No.
It's not woe is me, but we're for sure one of the trades where people are mad that we do our job.
Oh, yeah.
I think you could throw cops in there and, other
Yeah.
enforcement agencies, IRS, but
Really.
when people are just doing their job, people really get mad at us for doing
What's
our job.
interesting, though, is our job is please don't die.
Yeah, I really don't want to do the paperwork on your body today. I don't want to do an incident investigation today. Do you mind tying off, please, sir?
Right. Well, and maybe I shouldn't even say this, but I have a really bad tendency of I don't remember the person's name sometimes when I've gone onto an injury if they, maybe just got hurt, but then they've recovered and had to do whatever. I just kind of remember them based on how they got hurt. So I see them again and I'm like, what's up, crushed fingers? And they're like, really? Like, AJ, you've known me for like 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, and you've only got 8 fingers left. And they're like, oh, man.
Yeah, maybe that is a little cows. I've never heard you do that.
It's not
Just
fun.
calling everybody by their injury.
Well, there's not a lot of people we run into that are horrifically injured, but there's a couple.
But, it would be nice if, we could just do our jobs in peace. And people respected that. They'd be like, man, Aaron, thank you. I was in a hurry, and I'm glad you called me on that. I have a more chance greater chance of going home
Yeah.
same way I came today. Appreciate you, bro.
Right?
That'd be weird,
It's
wouldn't
not
it?
going to happen, though.
Yeah. Well, guys, we thank you for joining the Evil Safety Dudes podcast on Scaffolding and listening to us complain a little bit.
Ah, yeah.
And, hopefully we didn't offend too many of you, but
learn
if
a
we
little
did, we are the Evil Safety Dudes.
And we don't care.
We told you that up front.
That's right. You've been warned.
All right, until next time, everybody, stay safe.